I work in an old pre-war building in the city. It's this massive munitions factory that's been sectioned off into offices. Creative people are drawn to it, so the sorts of people occupying the space here are fashion designers and abstract artists and filmmakers. I mean, there's just tons of offices and tons of people in and out all day, so it goes without saying, the noise is significant. The offices are spread out and the walls are thick, so it doesn't bother anyone during the day, but you can definitely tell when people are here. There's an energy. Well, because of the nature of my work, my hours vary from early mornings to nights, and depending on the client, sometimes overnight. Those are the weird ones. The nights where it gets to be 3 a.m. and you start to hear the machines start up. The machines that the women operated during World War II, making bullets for the boys out east. The machines that clanked and clamored with that old world sound. The machines that were taken out of the building in the 1950s when we all believed there would never be a war again. I spent enough nights here to know to ignore it. At first I thought it was a power generator, like maybe the power went out and a generator was kicking on somewhere. So I walked around, and no matter what floor I was on, where I was, it always sounded like it was right underneath of me. This happened several times over several months, and I always took it as a prompt to walk around and stretch my legs a bit. It was my cue for relaxation on those long, awful nights of loneliness and video editing. This one night, this project I was working on took a little less time than expected. When that 3 a.m. rolled around, I was ready to head home. But the coffee in my system was still boiling. You know, my eyes weren't feeling the same weight that they always would that time of night. My body wasn't sore from the editing lounge. And it might have just been my system being so switched on, or just the odd fog that was outside the windows. But when that sound came on this time, it sounded different. Like a small part somewhere was out of place. So I decided tonight was the night. I was awake, so I was gonna go find out what was really going on. Even if it was just a generator in the basement, I was going to unravel the mystery of the old factory sounds once and for all. So I did my rounds, listening harder than ever, listening for all the little clicks and clangs that were louder than usual. And the more I listened, the more I thought I heard murmuring, and then, yes, and then shouting. There were voices downstairs. Well, at this point, I was in the lobby, the ground floor, so I knew it must be coming from the basement. Out of nowhere, there was this huge kapow! Like an explosion right under my feet. The floor shook, the walls thundered, dust shook off the chandelier, and it created this thickness in the room. And for a brief millisecond, for just a tiny, tiny moment, it looked as if someone was rushing through the dust. It could have been a gust of wind, a crack in the front door, but it came from the wrong direction. And it looked pretty damn near a woman holding her arm. Am I crazy? Or just tired? I didn't think I was either. I mean, how do you dream up an explosion? How do you imagine dust falling from the ceiling, walls actually shaking? No, this happened. I had seen a woman running towards the door, and she came from the direction of the elevator. The elevator that led to the basement.